All right, everyone, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, just want to remind everybody, we got about 1 week left for that promotional rate for the active trader live day trading room. So it's 60% off for your first month. I don't know what else I got to do to sell you guys on this, but we had a few people sign up. I want to see more. I want to make a nice community here. We've closed out 21 trades here. 23 trades in the month of January. 21 winners and 2 losers. So that is, if you know how to do math, that's a 91.3% win rate. I'd like to see more faces in there and see y'all making money here. We had a master class earlier today on 3M, traded that twice. Also traded the NQ this morning, made money, both of those. So 3 for 3 today, and still holding a runner. We're now in the money on another trade as well. Anyways, that's enough of the ad, but I'd like to see you guys in there. If you got 90 minutes in the morning, I mean, this is, it's a good market here for day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So markets here are basically sideways. Again, I'm doing the video early. Again, I got some obligations coming up in like an hour or so I'm trying to get the video out early. And honestly, I mean, come on, like we've been in like a 10 to 12 point range here. I mean, look at this. This morning we were in a 9-point range from here to here, and now 48.45 high of the day, 48.58. So it's not even a 15-point range since basically, outside of this little, no, really since here. So 11:30 yesterday to now, we've been in a 14-point range. That's really tight. At some point, we're going to get a pretty good move. Why? Because look at how coiled up we are. So this is getting coiled here. If you can go to a 5-minute even, look at that. So that's going to break out of that range at some point here. Could it go up? It sure could. I think the market's still a little stretched here, even though we are kind of pulling back. We didn't get our turnaround Tuesday like I thought we might get. Again, I'm not looking for a ton here, but I think the market might want to mean revert a little bit. We broke out of 48.18, 48.20. It's typical to backtest that, right? After you do that, it doesn't mean it has to happen now. It could happen in a week. We could float up to 4,900. There's nothing to say that doesn't happen. And again, I'm not interested in fighting this tape here until the bears actually do something. What does that mean? Well, it means, first of all, you got to break 48.50, and you actually have to do it with volume. And by the way, take a look at the volume. This is holiday stuff. I mean, this is, 40... We're at 2:37 p.m. and we haven't even done 30 million on the SPY. That's peanuts. That's nothing. So market's very quiet here, but we get through this level here on volume. You have a little bit of a pivot there at 481. That's on the SPY. It's 48.30 SPX. 48.20 will be major support. That's previous all-time high. But even so, we could pull back all the way to 47.90, and I don't think there's any damage. And again, the 20 MA is down here too. So technically nothing wrong here. I still think bulls have a little bit more time on the clock. It feels a lot like this week is, okay, we have some earnings. Obviously, there was some news this morning. Netflix will be after the bell. They did a deal with WWE. I'm still not paying for Netflix, so I don't really care. But a nice move there for TKO. We got Netflix after the bell. I don't know what it's going to do here. It looks a little top heavy, but anything can happen with earnings. But what I was going to say, Tesla, then we have Intel, KLA, I think Texas Instruments later today too. So we have some more earnings, more semiconductor earnings later this week, but PCE on Friday. I think the market's just asleep for next week, right? We've got the Fed, we've got FOMC, we've got Apple, Amazon, Google next week. We've got the QRA. That's a huge thing that's going to happen. If that long end gets issued out, that could put pressure on obviously TYX, or I should say put pressure on TLT rather. And that could, maybe get something that gets liquidity sucked out of this system. I do think the market's getting a little complacent, but that said, right now it looks like we're just kind of asleep here and mostly waiting on earnings and waiting for data next week. Nice move there in gold here intraday, breaking out of this little range. You're seeing bonds get a bid. We did have a 2-year auction at 1 p.m. Not a really big reaction, but you see the ZT getting a bid now. It is 2:30, so it is starting to float up here into the afternoon, and it's acting well here, which obviously is good for gold there as yields do come down. I see the dollar index coming down right now as well. But anyways, here, let's take a look at the triple Qs. Hanging in there, up 50 cents. I'm not going to make too much out of that. IWM, which was, I'd like to see this act well. It was leading this morning, gap up, right? And the Qs, well, they gapped up, but they sliced negative for, a brief minute. So it was, again, Russell 2000 showing strength relatively to the QQQ. And then that just, disappeared after a few hours. So already the Russell 2000 back to underperforming. But, we did kind of go into this level. We had a gap window there. This can still put in a higher low and get above that. Next level's at 200 and then 205 if that wants to keep going. Dow here, again, down $1.26. I'm not going to make out of that. Goldman did come in. Again, I've warned you guys about this. Daily chart is good, but please use those weekly charts. They tell you a lot. Biggest mistake most traders make is they lock into the daily and they forget about the weekly and the monthly, and that's how they get into trouble. Look how extended this is from the weekly. Same thing. What have I been telling you guys? What have I been telling you about XHB? Again, nice pattern, needs to do more of it. We tried to break out yesterday. I said, look, we're extended on the weekly, and we still are, so that's coming right back in. DR Horton reporting earnings, market not liking that. Stock is down almost 10%. Anyways, let's get over to semiconductors here. SMH up 18 cents. Again, trend is up. That can still go higher. I'd just say 200 on the SMH, 4,500 on the SOX. IGV holding up well, down 37 cents. Next level for this is around 430. It put a little bit of a tail candle yesterday, but volume kind of lacking, so we won't make too much out of that there. Dow Transport's here flat-ish, but it had a big surge yesterday, and we went into that whole round number, right? This is kind of where we broke down a few weeks ago. So backing off here, but it is off the lows, and there's nothing to say this don't just flag and go higher. So Dow Transports are hanging in there okay, and I don't see any issues. By the way, Hang Seng there, China kind of chirping up their stimulus. You see the Hang Seng getting a bid. That is kind of calming some fears here. This is Shanghai. This is looking a little one-sided. Full disclosure, I do have a little bit of FXI. Actually, I should say yin. It's a triple long. China, just a baby position here. I think the trade's a little one-sided here in the short run. But anyways, interest rates here. 2-year holding up. You can make a case this can consolidate and go higher, and you're going to see that pretty much across the board. 5s, same thing. Could be flagging up here, 10s and 30s. I don't see any issues with rates here. Could they do some backing and filling? Yes. But as I've been saying for a while, downside is limited here for rates, and I think dips will be bought moving forward. XHB, we talked about here, down 3.25. Big move down for XHB. That's a really big move for the home builders. I'm going to say this probably wants to come down and test the lows here, maybe even that 50 MA. Doesn't mean it'll go in a straight line, but definitely a good outside move there off the back of those DR Horton earnings. You see Toll Brothers down and Lennar as well. VNQ here also negative on the day. Almost kind of an engulfing candle, at least engulfing that body. So down 80 basis points. You don't want to see this become a lower high. That would be problematic. What would confirm that if we take out this low? This can go lower, and I think it can go down to 79 to 80 bucks. Again, it won't be in a straight line, but that would be a big negative. Again, we're not damning it just yet, but it needs to firm up here and then work its way back up into the 88 range, and then you can go higher from there. But VNQ still under a little bit of pressure from what I can see. XLF flat, no problems there. KRE down 31 cents. It's not a terrible chart. If this consolidates, it can go to 55, 56 still. KBE down 21 cents. If that consolidates here, it'll go up to 48. Nothing's changed on any of these charts. Broker dealers getting a bid here after that pullback, right into the 20 MA and pulling back there. Again, no problems. Oil here. So oil just continues to flirt with 75, just won't stop. It's just like, your favorite ex-girlfriend or something, I guess. Oil here into the 75 handle. And, backing off. If this can put in higher, it's trying to put in hourly higher lows. If it does that enough times and it hits 75 enough times, it's going to go through. That's just the way it works. I would like to see this flag up, and I'd like to see yields do the same thing. If that happens, they're confirming themselves as positives, and you'd see these move higher together. And my bias is now getting more and more each day. The more we hammer on 75 with higher lows, the more my bias does turn up for oil. So oil holding up here. XLE up 8 cents, but came off the highs of the day. Nothing really terrible there. It still had a pretty good level. XOP is negative. OIH is flat to positive, but you guys know I like this one as a bigger level here. on really all time frames. CCJ finally getting a bounce, right, pulling back into 46. It's doing what it should there. Weekly chart, still okay. You guys know I still like the weekly URNM. The time to get in was a while ago. I wouldn't chase it up here, but if it consolidates more in due time, it can go higher still. Nat gas getting a little bounce off that double bottom, so nice little pop there. Held the low from yesterday, and it's continuing to go. We've got a little gap there, and then probably up into 270 is kind of your next short-term level. And then if it gets through that, it's 290. You got all these pivots up here, but this has been a volatile trade here, up down all around. But I do think it holds this level here for right now. Dollar index. Again, looks a lot like the yield chart. Tried to break out. It's not quite ready yet. I think it needs to do a little bit more. But it's amazing how, take a look at, and I was tweeting about this earlier, look at the dollar. It's just ripping up higher, right? All day long. And the spiders are just like, asleep. Like it's not happening. So maybe it has to do a little bit with China. I'm not so certain. But dollar holds up, and it looks like it wants 104.35. So nothing has changed on that front. Now dollar pulling in, and you're seeing gold get a little uptick in the afternoon. But again, bonds kind of, I think the 2 years helping that out as well. Gold here up $9. Levels haven't changed there. If we start to inch up 2075, 2100, if we lose these levels down here, it gets a little interesting. You got 1950, 1960, and then kind of your breakup bar at 1900. But right now, those levels are not really in play. We don't need to worry about them yet. Silver, nice recovery there. Again, we talked about 22. I figured that would be support. It's getting a bounce. This could still put in a lower high, though, so just be aware of that. It is a little oversold on the daily, so we may need to go retest 23, 25. But right now, getting a bounce where it should. And again, we'll leave that alone for right now. Platinum also bouncing as well, holding that level. Palladium also holding double bottom. And copper here, nice outside move, so showing some life here. This has just been kind of a grind here, an aimless grind, but nice outside move there, up 1.17 currently. Next level, we'll just say 388 here for copper here on the daily. That's really all I have for it right now. Bitcoin continuing to come in. So it has been a definite sell the news. 49 down to 39. It's a 10,000, point move. It's a big move there for Bitcoin, but it's holding where it should, right? You're straight down into the 100 MA right here. This is where you broke out, right? It should get a bounce. So I don't know how long that lasts, but the only thing that really matters to me right now is, do we hold that weekly green bar by the end of the week? And that is 40,000. We're just going to call it 40 even to be simple. It should get a bounce here. We'll see how that plays out. If it doesn't, it's telling you there's something wrong. But right now it's acting well. It looks okay. ETH, this is the problem here. You lost that bullish inside bar on the Ether yesterday with that close. That's definitely a little bit of a concern here. Weekly, it's still okay. It could still recover, but right now it's not looking very good. It's looking like a pretty wide range candle there. So just be aware of that. Some of the alts starting to fade a little bit here. Matic, which I've been talking about, still okay. It's got to hold this 69-cent area by the end of the week. That would be my master level there. Cardano, which I still like. This looks okay. This still looks fine here on the weekly, but definitely some pulling back here for some of the coins. But I think Bitcoin can get a bit off that 100-day, given that we haven't bounced really at all since we've gotten there. And again, it lines up perfectly with this this area right here, right? I mean, that's right where we broke out. So, all right. Anyways, let's get back over to the spiders here really quickly. It looks like we're floating up here into the afternoon. I don't know how much longer we can float up. Again, I do think the market's a little complacent and stretched here, kind of outside of that BB there. I don't know how long that can last. Again, it doesn't mean that we're going to crash or anything, but you may get some mean reversion. You may get a tape raid when things are usually this quiet for a couple days in a row. Sometimes you get those bears to come out of there and they put raid the tape, 0DT seller, something like that. Again, it's not anything more than a healthy pullback. Need to shake some of those longs out there. I can't make it too easy for too long. But that said, I think the markets right now are really just waiting on earnings and obviously QRA and FOMC next week. So again, we'll give the market the upside bias for now. If we get a high volume sell, things definitely change. But until that happens, we'll just continue to expect the bulls to just show up here and buy dips. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you guys all tomorrow.